protection over all the students and those that work in the administration buildings. And Lord, help us to all remember that we work together in our churches and our businesses and our schools. Lord, help this community continue as it grows to be tight, friendly, and in unity. And Lord, we just thank you, God, for just blessing us tremendously, taking care of us, and putting all of the right people in the right places to make right decisions. And Lord, we just give you thanks and praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, next, our pledge leader, Ms. Porter, would you introduce our pledge leader, please?
Our December pledge leader is Rosalind Ukpai. She is 11 years old. Her parents are Mr. and Mrs. Ukpai. She has one sister and two brothers. Rosalind is in the 5th grade at Shields Elementary School, and her teacher is Mrs. Hajowski, I think. Her favorite subjects are reading and math. Rosalind enjoys singing and dancing, and her favorite book is The Bad Guys. When Rosalind grows up, she wants to be a lawyer or a doctor. The person she most admires is her mom. Sometimes something she likes about herself is her personality.
Is Miss Rosalind here?
Rosalind?
All right, Miss Porter.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Miss Porter, you don't get to keep the goodies in that envelope. Next, we'll move into our recognitions. I'll turn it over to Sanford.
Okay, we're going to start with our Top Hawks, and Miss Melanie Peterson is going to be presenting the certificates at this time. For the 2022-2023 school year, Red Oak ISD has partnered with area businesses to recognize our outstanding students at each campus and our district staff. Top Hawks celebrates these students who rise to the top. Each grading period, campuses will select the Top Hawks, one boy and one girl from the entire school based on the 4 talons of the Hawk. Each elementary school winner will receive a $25 gift card, and each middle school and high school winner will receive a $50 gift card from our sponsors. Thanks to our sponsor for this grading period, Carbon Aerospace. We are joined tonight by Dale Cooper, I don't believe is here, but Olaf Jarakowski. Did I say that correctly? Did I get close? Come on up. Is here to present the certificates and gift cards. So as I call your name, if you would please come up to receive your certificate and your gift card. We're going to start with Eastridge Elementary. We have a 5th grade boy, Isaac Urbina. Fifth grade girl, Sophie Morales. I think the cold weather kept people at home tonight. Okay, Red Oak Elementary, we have 3rd grader Christopher, which is CJ Williams. Also from Red Oak Elementary, 3rd grade girl Michelle Cavallina. From Shields Elementary, 3rd grade, Josiah Hines. And 3rd grade from Shields Elementary, Olivia Espinal. From Shepman Elementary, 2nd grader, Zachary Rush. And 2nd grader, Faith Williams. From Wooden Elementary, 4th grader, Paul Smith. And fourth grader, Gabriella Cerna. These are our elementary top hawks for this grading period. She bosses me around too. It's okay.
Cameras everywhere. Just from one side to the other.
Spotlight. Oh, it's like I'm done. All right. Congratulations. We're going to move into our secondary top hawks now. And from Red Oak Middle School, we have eighth grader Mason Daniels. And eighth grader Ariana Mahoney. And from Red Oak High School, senior Jalen Robinson. And senior Elena Ryan Guerrera. Congratulations.
Just kidding.
Congratulations to these outstanding students. This outstanding business partner also is sponsoring our Hawk Staff Spotlight. From our bus drivers and office staff to principals, custodians, teachers, and more, our Hawk Nation consists of the best of the best. Every day, Hawk Staff goes above and beyond in a variety of ways. We opened the nominations for the Hawk Staff Spotlight in September and received over 100 nominations from parents, staff, and students. A committee then selected the top nominees. Tonight's winner will receive a $100 gift card from our sponsor, Carbon Aerospace. And congratulations to our Hawk Staff Spotlight for the first grading period, Jeannie Powers from Eastridge Elementary. You can read more about her nomination on our social media post, but I pulled the following excerpt just to give you an idea of what was said in the nomination. Ms. Powers is such a great teacher in person. She cares so much about her students. She makes sure they have snacks, calls home to let parents know that their child is working hard, and makes each child feel special. So congratulations to Ms. Powers. And I know it is cold out, so if parents, if you would like to go at this time, you are welcome to, or you're welcome to stay for our meeting, whatever is your preference. But it's a great time. Yes, we're going to do cross country. If y'all want to just stay seated, sorry, I got ahead of myself. We have a couple more things on recognitions. How long has it been since we had a board meeting? Okay, at this time, we're going to have Donna Knight to come down and do our Red Oak ISD 15th Annual Christmas Card Competition winners.
My favorite time of the year. Each year, Red Oak ISD celebrates the holiday season with our business partners, organizations, elected officials, and other ISDs and ambassadors by sharing a holiday card designed with student artwork. This is the 15th year for the annual Holiday Card Art Contest. Red Oak Middle School students submitted this year's entries, and the school board chose the top entries to be included on the district card. The students are given cards to share with their family, a school board certificate, and a gift card from the Education Foundation for the winner. If you would please come up when we call your name, and I might not say your name right, so. 8th grader Isabel Cordera. 7th grader Alina Castrillon. 6th grader Camilla Quarles. I said it wrong. 6th grader Vivian Eloise Stewart. 6th grader Asa Gherkin. And our winner this year is Madeline Taylor, 6th grader.
You're good. Hey, do this.
Just smile in the back of the room. Don't try to look at one camera. There you go.
Congratulations. Okay, we're going to move into our Red Oak High School cross-country team. If I could have Coach Brian Reed to come on up. He's going to be doing some certificates, and Brian Sebring is going to be passing those out.
Well, good evening. Again, thank you all for having us here tonight. It's great for our kids. I'm cross-country coach. My name is Brian Reed. Just to recap quickly in our season. Well, first off, if you don't know cross-country in high school, the kids run a 5K at each meet, 3.1 miles, and they get one big meet a year, which is the district meet. Okay, it's not like other sports where they have 12, 14 games. They get one meet, and then the top 3 teams on the boys' side and the top 3 teams on the girls' side, they get a chance to move on to regionals. And this year, we were fortunate enough through our kids' hard work. We have a great group of kids, led by some seniors. A lot of kids coming back, but for the first time since 2015, I could be corrected if I'm wrong. We had both of our teams on the girls and boys side advance to the regional meet, which was held in Lynn Creek Park in Grand Prairie. So our girls at the district meet, they finished second overall. Again, we got a good group there, a lot of young kids. Again, they're led by a few seniors, but they pushed real hard and finished second, so they qualified as a team. We had 2 kids in the top 10. Esme Rodriguez, 9th grader, and Morgan Maines, she finished 9th. Both 9th graders, they finished top 10 on the girls' side, so they did phenomenal there. Boys' side, we finished 3rd as a team, and we had 2 top 10 finishers, Anaki Garcia and Marco Cruz. They both finished top 10, and they led the charge for our boys' side to move on to the regional meet. So again, outstanding job by our kids. They work tremendously hard. They get up really early in the morning. They don't complain. They do all the little things, academics, all that good stuff. So it's really fun to be a part of that group. Happy for them because again, it's the first time since I've been here that we've had this amount of success. So I'm happy for the kids. So with that being said, we will introduce our 2022 boys and girls team. First up, we have Sadie Carroll. Next up, we have Alessandra Ceballos. Next up, Anna Cook. Avery Clyde, she could not make it tonight. Morgan Maines. Esme Rodriguez. And Gianna Thomas, she could not make it tonight as well. On the boys' side, we have Tamira Coleman. Marco Cruz. Anaki Garcia. Elijah Hernandez, he cannot make it tonight. Joaquin Hontas. Landon Carpenter cannot make it tonight. Tyrus Williams cannot make it tonight as well. And then lastly, Ezra Sauceda, he cannot make it as well on the boys' side.
It's for you, Mo.
All right. I think you're good. Congratulations. What an accomplishment. Congratulations. At this time, we're going to have Jennifer Jeter, our Red Oak High School Assistant Principal, and she is over our CTE program, and she is going to be doing some introductions as well.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Jeter. I oversee the CTE department, and we have our robotics team here, and they have been sponsored by Carbon Aerospace. And last year, through their support, we were able to make it to the state level for the first time in our robotics history. So with their continued support, with their continued support, we hope to make it to world champions, not just national,
Yes.
world. So we're on the way. We're just a few spots away. So this is Olaf, and Olaf, I'm so sorry I cannot say your last name. There we go. And so he has donated through Carbon to get them into our event competition. And Mr. Stapleton?
One of the prints of largest check would be fine, but it's not the largest one. It's the one that fit in my car.
This
Yes, that's how it goes. All right, big smile. 1, 2, 3. Say world. World. Yeah. There you go.
Thank you so much for your continued support.
Thank y'all.
I appreciate y'all so much.
She just.
Okay, at this time, we have Karen Anderson, Executive Director of our Red Oak ISD Education Foundation, that will be coming up to do a presentation.
Good evening. Can you hear me? On behalf of the Red Oak ISD Foundation Board of Directors, I'm happy to update you on our recent 2022 grant program. This year, we moved our grant program to the fall at the request of staff and administrators, and it seemed to be well received. The committee accepted 38 applications requesting just over $116,000. They reviewed and discussed each application before determining which applications would be funded. The prize parade this year was able to visit 6 of our Red Oak ISD campuses. It was so good to be back in full prize parade mode. And of course, our cheerleaders and drumline did not disappoint. They were amazing. We were able to award the following. Eastridge and Red Oak Elementary each received 2 grants. Red Oak High School and Shutman Elementary each received 7 grants. Shields received 1 and Wooden received 4, making 23 grants awarded. I'm honored to announce that the foundation has now awarded just over $1.1 million in 375 grants. At this time, I'd like to introduce Donnie Lutrick and Monique Ballard, who are on our board. Paige Davis is on staff with me, and they want to make a check presentation to the board.
Who's going to receive?
Well, on behalf of the Education Foundation, I am happy and proud to present this check to the district and to our teachers and students for $75,000. A little more. I'm not going to read the check number to everybody, but we're very, very happy with the grants that we have. So congratulations to our teachers and to our students to being able to receive this year.
That'd be awesome. And that's the check size that would fit in Karen's car. Need a bigger check.
Need to get some wall. There you go. Gives everybody a little room there. Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thanks, honey.
And if you have never participated in the prize parade, you at least need to watch the video. It is quite something to be in that prize parade, and those teachers are so excited, and staff members, when they show up at the door and with all the confetti and the music, and it's just really an exciting ordeal. So make sure you watch those videos if you haven't ever participated.
Hey, can I jump in real fast? Hey, teachers and staff, if you haven't had a chance to do a grant, put one in. These people, when I'm telling you, they review and review and review and review. I think that whenever I was on there a couple years ago, I think we reviewed like 85 or something. You guys already do the work. put it to paper, make a hard plan. These guys will review it. It will be considered. And if it's worthy of the cause, likely you'll receive the grant. And it's all for y'all's classrooms and for our students and for the betterment of each campus. So don't sleep on that deal. It's a really, really good program that you can take advantage of.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move into an open forum, public hearing. It's Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, first rating report for the 2020-2021 school year. Dr. Johnson.
Thank y'all. Every year, the district is required to do a public hearing on this financial integrity rating system of Texas, schools report, as they call it, or schools first, I should say. And so tonight I'll give a brief background of the history, the rating scale, the indicators, other required disclosures, and all the information is in a document that was attached to the board agenda and will be out on the website as well, that we do every year. The school first started in 2001, and the purpose of it was to provide additional financial information. Again, the goal is to educate students, but to educate students, you have to have a good financial plan in place to help do that. And so that's why this was put in place, to help do that. And again, it's to encourage school districts to better manage the district's financial resources. It's important due to the complexity of accounting associated with the school finance system. And again, it's to evaluate fairly in the quality of financial management and provide transparency. And again, it's based primarily on the financial documentations or the financial audit that's done every year. And again, a district score is based on the summation of 20 financial indicators. It was 15. They bumped it up to 20 last year. And I have a little red star on the presentation to show the new indicators that were implemented last year. The new ones are mainly ceiling indicators, which say you have to, if you don't have the minimum ceiling, then you get a lower score. But if you have the ceiling minimum, then you're okay. And there's six indicators fall into that category this year. And again, the ratings are 90 to 100 points. You get a superior. Above standard is next, then meet standard, and then the substandard achievement is the lowest you can go, which essentially is an F in the rating scale. It's broken down into 9 pass or fail. You either pass or fail. They don't give you points. 9 of them also give you points up to 10. Then there's 2 indicators that give you a maximum of 5 points. Again, no points are awarded for those critical indicators. You either pass or fail. And this year there's 2 ratings, rating 10 and rating 15, which are not calculated and the maximum points are provided. And when I show you those, you may understand a little bit. And a lot of it has to do with the situation of the last several years with the state funding doing hold harmless. And then with the pandemic, the enrollment not matching what may have been normally. Again, the first one was the annual financial report, or what they call the AFR, submitted by the required date. In our situation being we're June 30th, we were required to have it submitted by, again, another point is this was based on, and I must have went over the slide, it's based on 2021, the financial records for 2021. You would think since we're 6 months past the last fiscal year that they would do the most current fiscal year, but it takes them a while to accumulate all that data. So it's 2021. So the 2021 audit, or the AFR, was submitted on November 8th, 2021. It was due on December 27th, so we passed because we did it a month or so, almost 2 months ahead of time. And again, was there an unmodified opinion? Again, the last several years, we have not had any findings in our audit. So we had an unmodified opinion, so we passed there. We didn't have any material weaknesses, and we were compliant with the payment term of all debt. Yes, we were, so we passed that. And then did we make our timely payments to the state on some of the benefits, such as the TRS, the Workforce Commission, Internal Revenue, and other government agencies? And we did, because we made all those payments timely. And was the net, this is one that's not being graded this year. There was total unrestricted net asset balance in the governmental activities column in the statement of net assets greater than zero. They didn't do this last year or this year due to some changes that are upcoming to the OPEB, post-employment benefits. 6, this is a new one. Was the average change in the fund balance over 3 years less than a 25% decrease? Or did the current year assigned and unassigned fund balance exceed 75 days? We passed because our fund balance has not gone down. Our fund balance had gone up over the last several years. We're right, and this year we're right. The state says we want you to have at least 25% of your expenditures as fund balance. We were above that. We were probably 28% in this 21 audit, and so we passed. So we met the ceiling and we passed. Was the number of days cash on hand and current investment from the general fund for the school district sufficient to cover the operating expenditures? And we had 118 days of cash on hand, so we got the full 10 points that you see at the very bottom. If we had less than 90, we'd only get 8 or lower. So we had above 90, so we had the 10 points. We had 10 points last year, which is in green. Then was a measure of current assets to current liabilities ratio for the school district sufficient to cover short-term debt? We got 10 points this year. Last year, we only had 8 points. And again, the current assets to current liabilities, cash, and what we're expecting to get from other government entities is assets. Current liabilities are payroll. Again, our fiscal year stops in June, but we have a July and August payroll that's charged back to the prior year. So those are considered liabilities, plus the next year, the next fiscal year's debt payments. Those are considered current. Anything expensed within a year is considered current. And so we had 10 points this year, and we're going to continue with that 10 points moving forward. Did the school district's general fund revenue equal or exceed expenditures? Yes, our revenues have increased over expenditures. And again, this was probably one of the COVID years, so therefore less expenditures and revenue. We got 10 points. We had 10 points last year as well. This is a new one. Did the school district average less than a 10% variance when comparing budgeted revenue to actual revenue? So what they were comparing what you budgeted, you thought you were going to get as revenue versus what you actually got as revenue. And as you can see, we're very close for those years. And so they're saying if you have less than 10%, then you get 10 points. We had less than 1%. So we're very close. And again, this is one they're not scoring this year. Last year we got the 10 points. Again, this year they're not scoring. And my presumption would be because there was hold harmless from the state for some of the years due to the pandemic. So they didn't want to negatively impact school districts. Was the ratio of long-term liabilities total net asset for the school district sufficient to support long-term sovereignty? This is one that we hope we're going to do better. Got 6 points this year, 6 points last year. And again, the main thing is, one of the things is the total assets kind of have gone down over the years because one of the accounting factors is you have a building, then you have depreciation every year. So as the building gets older, the value of the building decreases. So again, this implies that our buildings are older in the district. They're not newer. This is a new one too. Was the debt per $100 assessed property value ratio sufficient? We got 8 points for this. And again, it could be because our long-term liabilities at that point in time were over $100 million. It's gone down. We're roughly in the $80 million range now. So next year we should do better with that one. Was the school district's administrative cost ratio equal to less than the threshold in our district because of our student population? It's less than 10%. We were at 9%. And that's over the last several years, that's gone down. And so again, last year, you can see we were 8 points. This year we got 2 points. So we gained 2 points in this scenario. Then does the school district not have over 15% decline in student to staff ratio over 3 years? Our enrollment is going up and our staffing is going up. So then we got the same 10 points again from last year. Here's one that also was out there implemented last year, but it's not been graded this year, and it's ADA, average daily attendance. And again, my presumption is that it's because of pandemic and how enrollment had gone down. They didn't want to penalize districts for that scenario, so they just gave everybody the 5 points this year. And then did the PEMS data that was submitted compared to our annual financial report or audit, and we were only $101 off, which in my case, I'm thinking that's going to be rounding. And then number 17 is new. Did the external independent auditor report that AFR was free of any instances of material weakness? We did not have any material weaknesses, so we passed the SEMA. And 18 is, did the external independent auditor indicate the AFR was free of instances of material noncompliance for grants and things like that? And we did not have any material weaknesses for grants or anything. We got the 10 points we did last year. 19, did school district post required financial information on its website? Yes, we did. We also shared with the board, we do that every May, what the projected assessed value is and how it would impact the state funding. We do that every year as well. And then that's what this is. Did the school district discuss the district's property values at a board meeting within 120 days before the district adopted the budget? And again, we do that, it indicated here, we did that last June, or June of 2020 for the 2021 fiscal year. And so with all that said, we scored 94 points, 94 out of 100, which was an increase of 4 over last year. And we got a grade A superior achievement. And next year I'm projecting 96. So we're going to go a little bit higher. And again, the superior achievement is the highest there is of all the districts in the state. 890 of them for this year received that superior rating, and a few of them did not. Now, the other thing that we're required to put out there as part of this document is the superintendent's current contract, any reimbursement that the superintendent and board members received, compensation received by the superintendent for outside consulting, gifts received by administrators and board members, and business transactions. And the only thing that, and again, the superintendent's contract is out on the website for anybody to look at. And then the only thing that we really had is reimbursements. And again, we're talking the school year 2021, which was right in the middle of the pandemic. So there was not a lot of travel taking place going to conferences. There were remote conferences. And so as you see here, all the expenditures are other, which other in this situation is registration fees for conferences. And there's really no traveling, no meals, no lodging. So those were the only expenses for that 2021 fiscal year for the superintendent and the board members. Then there was no outside compensation, no gifts received, and no business transactions. So then that's really it. Is there any questions? With that, thank you all very much. And
So before you walk off, can you explain to everyone why it's important for us to have a good, high superior rating? How does it impact the district?
well, I mean, there's several different components. I mean, with our audit or AFR, that would drive if we were, it's no different than a credit rating. If you're going to go out to borrow money, if, we had a bond that passed, then having good financial records is important. This would imply this, but the purpose of this is more, I think, to say that we're providing the resources appropriately for the education of the students, that it's tied to that component, instructing our students.
Right, but if we didn't have a good first rating, that would impact us if we wanted to get a loan, buy bonds, or
It may, but I think it
would make them look a little harder at us
some
than
of
if
the
we.
components of it, yes, such as the fund balance and things like that. They may, or I don't know if they really look at the actual first rating, but the components that make up the rating would impact it. Yes,
I guess my point is, it's more than just a cursory
yes, yes. It
You
does.
know,
It does show that
action
the
that we're doing
district
here.
is moving in the right direction and doing the right things for the education of our students.
We appreciate everything you and your department does too.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you.
Next, we'll move into the superintendent's report. Well, we had open forum. Did anybody in the audience have a question?
We're not there yet.
What's that? Nobody? Okay. Superintendent's report?
Okay, we're going to start with Chief Pacifica. He's going to come up and give a discussion on our district-wide intruder detection audit report findings.
Good evening, Board. The reason I'm before you this evening is because of a intruder detection audit that occurred at one of the district campuses. That occurred on November 15th. I will go broad in the open session. If you have more specific questions, we can discuss in executive, but that's a suggestion from the School Safety Center. Again, we had an intruder detection audit at one of our campuses on November 15th. I will stress that no entry was made into the campus. And we actually had students who directed the auditor to the front door because that's where adults are supposed to go check in. So I call that a success. I will tell you there were one negative finding. You have 4 potential findings. We had 1 negative finding, and that would be for open or unsecured doors. For inside at the classroom, there were a couple of those. And again, we can discuss some more specific if you'd like in executive, but that was our one finding. So we were given notice. The superintendent received notice from the School Safety Center the very next day about obviously we knew that day and we got initial paperwork, but they got formal notification the next day to the superintendent, and it outlined what the post-detection audit requirements were. One of the first requirement is that we had to have a meeting of our Red Oak ISD District School Safety Committee meeting, which we posted and held that meeting on December the 5th. We taught what you're supposed to work with your committee on is the plan to address the deficiency that was noted, which generally is training. So we proposed a plan to address the training, to focus in specifically over what the deficiency was, but we'll also address other things within the training. I will tell you that the requirement is you must give that campus staff an opportunity during the training to provide some input to what things that they might be able to provide input on, being that they're at the campuses, to how to make the campus safer and how that we can succeed at the deficiency. So that'll be part of the training. The committee was in line with the proposed plan that we discussed in the executive session for that committee. And for that committee, it operates like the board. It requires a posting in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, and it allows for executive session when you're talking about sensitive security related items. So that's part of that committee. So part of the plan was to develop training, and we talked about that, outline what we're going to go over in the training. We also suggested times. So we are going to hold training at that campus when we come back from break on January 5th. We have a couple of times on that date, and then a makeup on Monday the 9th, so we can get the training done to focus in on the deficiencies that were noted. The next requirement is actually to bring the fact that we had the audit to the board in a public setting. So there is a high-level overview that we had the audit and what our steps are, that we're following the steps as prescribed by the Texas School Safety Center. And so that's what we're doing here. The final thing is that once we do the training, when we come back in January, the superintendent will be sent a portal to be able for us to upload that we did all the requirements. We had the school safety committee meeting, so we have to send minutes. We have to, send a copy of the draft or the agenda for the board that we did that, and then proof that we did the training specifically for that was required. So all that's in the works. That has to be back no later than 45 business days. So we have until February 13th in the new year to report back. But I suspect with our training being early part of January, we'll be able to get that done well before then. So that's my report for the open session. If you have any generic questions, I can try to answer. But on specifics, like I said, it would need to be done in executive. So.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next we have Kevin Frills is going to give a projects update.
Good evening. Well, let's finish up about the portables. They're all up and running, aren't they, ladies? I'm telling one of them because I had a teacher, Mr. Stanford and I were tromping around. One of the teacher came out and hugged my neck. She goes, "I'm so excited. I love that thing because it's quiet out there." So you can take that for what it's worth. They're all up and going. The furniture's there, technology's there. We got through all the supply chain issues and we got them all going. And we even know the phone extensions now, so it's awesome. Portables are gone. Tonight we bring you a little issue that's come up, and it is the Goodloe Stadium track. It's been there since 1995. New tracks today that are installed there's two parts to the track. There's the actual base, which is in layman's terms asphalt, and then the running surface, which is the cushiony, rubbery part up on the top. That's about 2 centimeters, something like that. It's not very thick. And that's supposed to be replaced every 6 to 7 years, depending on the use. Well, ours gets used pretty heavily. In 2004, the current track was resurfaced when the bond was done and the press box and all of that stuff was engineered and constructed. A sealer was applied in 2010. This track was not surfaced, it was just a sealer. Since 2010, the track has been repaired in 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and the last major repair was in January of 2020. I'm going to show you some pictures because you can see some things coming up here. Just some general information. As of this year, with the new turf installation, we have closed the stadium to non-essential use. Mr. Waller's not throwing stuff at me, is he? I'm cringing, but I know, he's still smiling. What that means is the PE classes can't go out to the track anymore. They're not going to the stadium. We don't have a place for them to go, but when you got that many kids walking with sneakers, and have you ever seen a middle school kid walk? They slide their feet. They don't pick them up. And so when they walk around the track, yeah, you know where I'm going. This year, the Ritter Carter Relays has been postponed for the spring. At the current time, we can't run a track meet there, especially for varsity level high school kids. Not happening. Currently, the middle school is scheduled to hold 2 invitationals and possibly the middle school district meet in April. Let me tell you how that works. Is we are all in a middle school district and we are assigned certain things to do. You have to do this, you have to do that. The best thing that we can get assigned is if we draw tennis, because we've got a great tennis facility that we can put all the tennis courts. After that, we're suffering. We don't have gyms, gym space to hold basketball, volleyball. We can do tennis, but everybody else, they rotate it. This is our year for the middle school track meets for 2 days on April 4th and 5th, and we're just going to have to see if we can get somebody to do that or whatever. We'll figure that out. Student participation at the high school varsity, we've got about 40 boys on the track team that will participate. We don't have like 60 or 80 because we don't fill every event. There's some events we don't fill, and some events you don't put students in just to put them in, because if they're not going to compete at that level, you don't do it. Girls about 30. The junior varsity, it says boys 50, girls 40, and then it says plus, because that's where all your freshmen and sophomores and those that aren't at the times of the varsity level students run. So there may be 50 at a meet and 40 at a meet, but there's still extra students that didn't qualify to go to that meet, because there's 5 of you running the 100, only 3 of you can go, and so somebody's not going to make it that week or whatever. So there's plus when it comes to junior varsity. At the middle school level, there's plus on everything. 7th grade, they approximately take 50 boys and 50 girls to each track meet at 7th grade level, and the same for 8th grade. And of course, we've got a bunch of plus. There's a bunch of kids out there, but you just do the math there. On any given day, we might have 1, 2, You can do the math. 300 plus kids out there on a track, one track for the district. You see the areas, especially right in here. You can see the chunks and the divots out. You can see where some of the patch had been done over the year. That's just a reflection off my camera on Saturday morning because it was bright sunshine. It was a great day. So you can see where the asphalt's missing. This is a patch, and right past the patch is the asphalt's coming up. There's asphalt showing. There's lane 5, so it's not even one of the inside lanes. We walked the track with the gentleman. There is not one lane on the track that is completely intact of the 7. At some point, all the way around, there's a problem. You can see a patch here from previous years, exposed asphalt, patch. That's a patch from a different year. It's still there. It's just different color. Big patches, exposed asphalt. Here's the latest. This is new because he pointed out to us, that's all disintegrating right here. You can see some patches there. There's some exposed asphalt up there. Here's a good picture of a patch that was previously installed. It's still intact, and there's a patch. And then see patches and asphalt coming through. There's just another example. This is what scares us. Because that crack is not in the surface. You see that crack, what's it going down to? The base, the asphalt. Why that scares us is, well, here's an example of this was a patch from a couple years ago. It's still in good shape. It's still fine. And you can see several years before they put a sealer on that crack right there, but now that crack is showing through. There's another crack that goes down, and this is a perfect example because you can see where the asphalt is exposed, and you can see that crack runs through, and there the asphalt has a crack in it. So we're to option 1, option 2, option 3. It's kind of like let's make a deal here. We're in a dilemma. Number 1 is hope we can find a school to allow us to rent their facilities. I can tell you right now that Coach Anderson has reached out. We haven't had anybody, just the ones that, and I'm going to be honest, we don't want to go everywhere. And the reason we don't want to go everywhere, I'm just going to be honest, because we don't need those schools' coaches sitting on the side with a stopwatch seeing how our kids are practicing and running. It's come to that. And the second part is we have reached out to one school that we wouldn't have a problem going, and they have yet to come back with a proposal. You know, one of them said, well, y'all may be able to start like at 7. Well, can you imagine taking the middle school and the high school kids all to one place at 7 o'clock in the evening? Yeah. Mr. Walker doesn't want any part of that one. Option 2 is replace the surface of the track. The preliminary estimate, we had a gentleman come out, or a company come out, and they said, well, we can resurface the track for probably, the base amount was $225. But then, of course, then it was like a used car dealership with the contingency for the subsurface. Well, maybe a 25% increase. Well, that's pretty close to $50,000 if I do my Aggie math real quick. And if all is good after we can get them to approve the subsurface, they'll warranty it for 6 years, but we spent a lot of money there, and they may not warranty it, because we don't know how bad the subsurface is underneath all the track. Option 3 is repair the worn areas, repaint the lines. We got a pretty good estimate. The gentleman that came out a couple years ago, he counted it all. They took pictures and went by hand, and he came up with 215 designated areas that need repair. Some of them the size, he said, he called them shoebox size. He called them shoebox size and soda carton. That's what he went to shoebox, soda carton, the old ones that hold a 20 case of water or something that size, and then larger. And he said we have 178 that'll go in the shoebox carton size and 37 in the big size. And he's given us an estimate of $46,000. And he said, well, the patches that I put down will last for 2 years, but the stuff that's not patched, I can't warranty it. So that's where we're at. And so we're just thinking this through right now and just wanted to give you kind of an update on what we're looking at and what we're dealing with when it comes to beautiful confines of Billy Goodloe Stadium. Ms. Sanford?
I went and walked the track with him as well, and the concern that I had about the patching is holding, but everything around it is wearing away. So now the patches are humps. And so that was the thing about the patching that, I don't know if you can notice it in the pictures or not, but it's higher. It's a higher level than the actual track because the patches are holding up. The track itself is not. So I just asked Kevin to bring that. I said, we need some, let the board think about it and direction, because if we do an actual track, then that does have to come for board action at a later time. So I just wanted us to be able to discuss it, comments, questions, concerns.
We only had one vendor come out, one that we consider somewhat reliable, to give us a price. And from everything that we've discussed with others, they're probably going to be the most reasonable. When we get, as Ms. Phillips is going to make us go get 3 quotes if we go above $50,000, and that could change, but this is just all preliminary numbers. The only number that I can attest to that'll work would be option 3. Option 3, it would be safe. In other words, he's going to fix all the holes. There's not going to be any exposed asphalt. And for those of you that don't know why that's such a big deal, is if you hit exposed asphalt with track spikes, you're falling. You're slipping. And that's just the bottom line. And it is, like I said, we have cut it off for the middle school. Middle school used to use it all the time. If it's not athletic related, they can't go to the Goodloe anymore.
Well, I'm going to challenge your date because Karen and I ran track there in the early 80s, and we had probably 5 or 6 track meets a year out there on that track. And we ran prelims before you ran finals. So you had a lot of kids, a lot of track meets. I mean, they used to run track meets all the time. Gaines and NL loved doing track meets. Mm-hmm. So they had it back in, I think when they built the stadium, they had a track.
Well, and they did, but it wasn't, this one was installed, the one we got now was in 1995, they said.
Currently, but that base is probably from their original.
Oh, it may be older.
From the original track is my
Well, they did repairs. That's what we could find and
Well,
stuff.
that's what I'm saying. We've been doing repairs
it was
30 years.
Oh, there was a track in there before the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like I said, find a road in Red Oak, Texas that was built in 95 that you want to drive on today.
So if you're still trying to get it done before the spring, is that even possible?
The repair can be done. That's not a problem. The repairs can be done. The gentleman that does the repairs, he's willing to work with us because he said, you guys are shot right up to my priority list. Because he does warranty work for all the guys that do the install the tracks, and he said he's a former coach and AD, and he wants to help us out if at all possible. The other two, like I said, we got to get 3 competitive bids, and it just depends. My biggest concern about option 2 is the warranty. And I'm just going to be honest, that I don't want them to come back and say, oh, we got to redo the whole thing, and here we are. They're wanting us to spend all kind of money, but they'll all tell you, this one said, we can't tell you anything until we take that surface off. So that's the scary part. And so, we were kind of dodging the bullet. If the bond, I'll just be honest, if the bond would have passed in May, we'd have been spending the $46,000 and hoping that one would have got built out at the new middle school site, and we'd been going on with life. But that didn't happen. So that somebody's going to ask, well, why didn't you come to us before now? That's why.
So talk to us about a 7-lane and an 8-lane track.
Yeah, the 7-lane is obsolete. It's like a 77 Ford Pinto.
Yeah. And so can another lane be put on
Not
that?
at that facility. Not without some major construction. And we can't do that because of the ADA implications.
Okay.
April is the date that you're looking to do.
No, they would have it done before then. Yeah, but track practice heavily starts
Oh, wow.
middle January, late January.
Is there still grass growing out of it?
On the track? No, we got all that. Yeah. Yeah, since they did the edging on the inside, that's the new curb is taking a lot of that out. Yeah. So anyway, we just thought we'd bring
Put this
that
on the
to.
January meeting then? I mean, we gotta make a decision one way or the other.
Yes, if we go with the estimate, it will maybe under 50,000, which would not have to come to the board. But if we recommend the option 2 to actually redo the entire track, that would have to come before the board.
Personally, I don't know why we'd spend $46,000 if you can get a new track for 250.
Well, we haven't talked to him yet.
And we don't know what.
He's the least of our worries. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, and I actually talked to Dr. Johnston today. Would you like to talk about capital projects at all?
I mean, this is part of what we talk about, right? We say
Absolutely.
we don't take care of our stuff. That's why they want to pass a bond. So let's fix it, do it right, and then we don't have to hear that excuse when we float a bond out there.
I mean, we did transfer general fund excess revenue over to capital projects this year. So there is roughly about 1.59 million in capital projects. My only concern is we need to have a layout of what the upcoming projects are, because don't know if something's more important going to come along. So I'd hate to spend all the money on, not saying this is a minor project, but some projects and come to find out we have a building that needs, $1 million or $1.5 million of some sort of repair. So if we can get everybody to say, here's all of our projects and we prioritize them, and this would be near the top, then we should have the money to do it if we went that route.
And we'll be working on that this month, so we can come back with either a recommendation or.
Look like what you showed in fund balance. We got enough money to take care of it. So
Yes.
okay.
And again, my concern too, like I said, with the patches, if you go out there, you can see the patches are holding up. They're holding up. It's everything around the patch that's not holding up. So that was, y'all, if you ever want to go out there and walk it, feel free. Just holler at me and you can walk it. Okay, thank you. Okay, now I'm going to do my update. Several things just to do some congratulatory and then just to talk a little bit about the middle school and the other things that we have going on. Congratulations to Red Oak Hawk football team. They finished their season as by-district champions, and we'll be recognizing them at the January board meeting. And I know y'all are just like me. It's great having these kids back here, being able to recognize them. Congratulations to our Red Oak High School academic all-state athletes. It's a huge honor and shows the hard work that these students have put into their not only their sport, but their academic studies as well. Elena Guerrero was Red Oak Lady Hawks volleyball. Chloe Munez was Red Oak Lady Hawk volleyball. Alessandra Ceballos was Red Oak cross country. Anna Cook, Red Oak cross country, and Brock Links was Red Oak Hawks football, who received those all-state academic athletic honors. So very proud of those students. And for the second straight year on February 20th, 2023, mark that down if you're interested. At 5 p.m., Red Oak Baseball will be playing their opening game of the season at Globe Life Field against Duncanville. Again, that's February the 20th, 2023 at 5 p.m., Globe Life Field. Red Oak High School auto students, very exciting time. I had Another commitment was unable to go, but I really want to go to this next year. The Red Oak High School auto students competed in the North Texas Automobile Dealers Auto Tech Competition at Texas Motor Speedway. Our students regularly finish in the top 3 and often graduate with industry certifications and jobs lined up right out of high school, and they did a great job as usual. Red Oak High School Fine Arts Department held a magical winter extravaganza on December 8th to celebrate the holidays. There were performances by the band, choir, theater, plus they did a canned food drive and clothing donations drive. I love how our kids couple in community service with their events as well. I think that says a lot for them. And also wanted to announce our Spelling Bee winners. Congratulations to the Red Oak ISD Campus Spelling Bee champions. The week of December 12th, Red Oak ISD students in grades 4 through 8 participated in Script Spelling Bee at their campuses. First place winners from each campus will move on to the Ellis County Spelling Bee, which will be on February the 2nd in Waxahachie. Again, that Spelling Bee is February 2nd in Waxahachie. So I'm going to call out the first, second, and third place winners in that order, first, second, and third from each campus. Eastridge Elementary, Camille Pate, Macy White, and Coulter Brown. Shields Elementary, Nicole Wade, Hunter Weaver, and Chrislyn McFadden. Wooden Elementary, Alaya Benegas, Paul Smith, and Jayon Castillo. Red Oak Elementary, Ariana Sabordo, Lola Nims, and Bryce Horn. Shupman Elementary, Corey Montgomery, Nicole Garza, and Naila Ruiz. And Red Oak Middle School, Zoe Hancock, Layla Vallejo, and Monica Guzman. So congratulations to those students as well. And again, they'll be competing on February the 2nd. I wanted to also just talk a little bit about the middle school, because with the bond failing, we've been looking at a lot of different options and what can we do and what are we capable of doing with the funding that we have. So we know that we still have to address the middle school overcrowding, and not just that, but all of the other campuses. So I just wanted to say publicly that problem has not gone away. It's not going to go away. Our numbers are going to continue to grow, and if you drive around Red Oak ISD, you're going to see not only houses going up, but you're going to see apartments going up. So anything that shy of building a new middle school is going to be a Band-Aid. So I just want to say that publicly. It would be a Band-Aid to do anything else, but we're still going to be looking at options. I have no doubt that if we do go for a bond, that we're still going to have opposition for that bond, even when we work to meet the demands that you didn't do this, you didn't do that. There still seems to be new ones that arise each time that we do it. I believe that if we go for bonds for the next 10 years, there will be new ones arising each time. I laughed, but not laughed, saying that I may go down in history as the superintendent with the most failed bonds, but I continue to stand up for what we have to do for our kids. We cannot lose focus on what we need for our kids. This going back and forth on no tax rate increase versus yes, you're going to pay more taxes is not productive for anyone. It just muddies the water. So I wanted to kind of explain just real quickly while I can. When we say no tax rate increase and then you hear tax hike ahead, no, it will not increase the tax rate, but will there be additional taxes? Yes, it's no different than if you pay your car off. Beth Trimble uses this one, so I'm going to steal her example. You pay your car off and then you buy a new one. You just extended your debt another 5 to 7 years. Here lately, it may be 10 years on a car. So it is an extension of the debt. So are there more taxes to be paid? Yes, but the tax rate will not increase. Back and forth, wordplay, manipulation of words, scare tactics. So we've got to find a way to actually figure out how to reach our public and explain that in a way where they don't feel like we are being underhanded with them, because that seems to be the tactic that's being used there. So with that off my chest, let me just talk about some different options. I made an attempt to contact DeSoto East. They have an empty middle school, to see about renting that building in order to bus our students over there, because like I said, the middle school is busting at the seams. We have to do something. At this time, Dr. Rogers said they're not willing to look at renting that to us. She said for safety issues, they weren't willing to. They are using it for professional development, basketball, and things like that, but that is off the table at this point. I plan to call her again to see, because it is a building that we could actually use if they'd be willing to rent that to us. A lot of people holler portables is the solution. Portables does make the classroom sizes manageable, but it does not solve the problem of all of the students you have in the cafeteria, at release time, in the gym, in the hallway. We're just continuing to add more students in there. Mr. Waller, how many lunch periods do you have currently? 4 lunch periods between 2 buildings. And if we have to go to more, I tell you, I invite you, and I bet Mr. Waller would as well, to go spend lunch at the middle school. If you think your job is hard, you will quickly determine it is not. That's probably one of the hardest jobs in our district right now, is working at that middle school. Just not because of our kids, but because there's so many kids. It's hard to really manage those kids in that area. So, what can we look at? What can we look at? Again, we can look at portables, but again, you have not done anything to eliminate the number of students in one place. The traffic lines back up. The kids, when they're released, they're everywhere. Lunch is just, they stand in line for so long, and then they only have so much time to eat. Our kids are falling through the cracks, and that's not what Red Oak ISD should be about. So that is a major concern of mine. So we looked at another thing. What could we do if we relocated Little Hawks, if we rented some space, relocated Little Hawks, and made the old Shields, where Little Hawks is currently, and made that a pre-K center? And we did pre-K and kindergarten there, and moved those students over to that, and then made our elementary campuses 1st through 6th. Is that pretty? No. Is that something we have to look at? Yes, that's something we would have to look at, because that is an option. What is the problem with that? Problem is, you've got 1st graders now with 6th graders on a campus, and that's not going to make our parents, teachers, or staff happy at all. You also are looking at now, if you're busing students that are pre-K and kindergarten, or you have added a new route. We all know our routes are tight, our bus drivers are short. We'd have to play with our times, we'd have to figure that out, and more importantly is look at the parents. The parents are now at another drop-off place, so that adds a different drop-off place to parents who have students on all campuses. We even looked at it the other way. What if we turned that into a 6th grade center? Same thing. It's a Band-Aid, but if we turn that into a 6th grade center, then again, another drop-off, another bus route. Can we manage the logistics of it? Here's your problem with that. We don't have a magic pot of money to build a storm shelter, which we'd have to do if we touch that building, add a gym, add a kitchen, add a cafeteria. So what would we have to do? We'd have to go out for bond. So why would we go out for bond for a Band-Aid? So there's that one. We could go out for a smaller bond possibly, but it's a Band-Aid. And is that really what's good for the kids? Then speaking of Band-Aids, we talked about what if we just did a bond for 6th grade center only out at Westmoreland Road? Again, drop off another location. You're going to have parents having to figure that out, bus routes again. And again, why would we go for a bond for a smaller amount just to Band-Aid it when we know that's not going to be the best solution possible? There is not enough cuts that we could make. I know from the group, cut Little Hawks. We know that is a huge incentive to our staff, huge incentive to our staff. We're constantly looking at ways to make that balance out more. We did get grants that really put us over the top, where we're actually we're not in the red at Little Hawks because of that grant. It would just be a detriment to our faculty and staff if we were to get rid of Little Hawks. But again, that's something that if we discussed, it's a drop in the bucket. It will not fund building a building. So again, I just wanted to throw that out there to y'all to be thinking about that. If you have solutions, don't give me the solution of go fundraise. Don't give me the solution of go get your donors, because I do not know anyone who's going to donate $95 million to Red Oak ISD. I tried for the big lottery. If I'd have won it, I'd have had a hard time even squeezing $95 million out of me, because it would have been more than I could have won. So I'm telling you, you're not going to find donors that are going to give you $95 million. If you are, please bring them to me. If that is your solution, please bring me those donors. Don't just throw it out there. The solution is not trying to stagger times, because I don't think people understand if we have a morning and an afternoon middle school time, your teachers are going to have to be working extra hours. They're not going to work extra hours for nothing. They're not going to work extra hours for more pay. They're exhausted at the end of the day. They don't want to do that. And we barely can staff right now with one shift. We could not staff with two, so that's not a solution. Everything that's come to me from the oppositional group, it's not a viable solution. If you have a viable solution, I'm ready to hear that viable solution. No, I can't create a pot of money. That's not a viable solution. I can't shake the money tree. Bill won't let me shake it that much. We don't have that much money on the tree to shake it. So again, there's no magic pot of money. We can't find donors for the 95 million. We can't stagger our school days. We cannot build a building without a bond. Yes, there will be more property taxes paid to build a bond over the period of years, but yes, we can do it without a tax rate increase. 3 failed bonds. It's evident we are not getting the message out to our voters that this is a true need, and we're not able to right now conquer the misinformation and the scare tactics that are out there and the twisting of words. So I'm asking people to come together and give us the solutions that they have. I want to hear those solutions. If you have a solution that I have not said has been given to me that's not really a solution, if you have a real one, I would really love to hear that solution. I bring all this to you because we're on the verge of making a decision. According to Facebook, the decision's already been made. I didn't know that y'all voted to put it on the ballot, but according to Facebook, we've already put it on the ballot. But the last day to call for a bond election is Friday, February the 17th. So I wanted to put it in the forefront of your mind. Now everybody can get out there and put it on Facebook that I did mention it. So now I made that actual truth. And so on our agenda on January 23rd, y'all will be calling for a board election. That would be a time that I would suggest if we're going to consider a bond election for us to consider it. But we do have up until February the 17th. There would be no additional cost for the bond election because we already have an election going on with the school board. So that was a lot. But I am willing to take any questions, concerns, and try to answer those as best I can.
Well, bonds do cost money. Calling bonds, we paid $11,000 for the last one, $5,300 for the one before. Every time you apply to the permanent school fund for a guarantee, it's $1,500 for the application.
Yes, the November bond did cost us more than normal because we did not have a school board election at that time.
Right, it's
So
a bigger election.
that is correct. So if you
More
pair
balance.
it, yes, if you pair it with the already existing election, then that is definitely a cost savings in that way.
Take it back down to 53. It's a number.
Absolutely. Yes, that's
Yes.
correct.
And spent $35,000 on information on this.
I don't know
last
the
one.
exact amount. I'm sure
Well,
that's probably it. I
got
know
it.
you did a lot of PIAs, so
Okay.
yeah, you probably had that amount.
So, yeah, those bonds cost a lot of money.
We just passed it. We'd stop spending that money.
No, we'd have a bigger debt.
Anybody else have any questions?
And I just had one more quick thing.
Okay.
I'm sorry. This one is quick. Just wanted to let y'all know that I know residency is always an issue, and so we do have some cases that I'll be taking over to the court to see if they prosecute for forgery or fraudulent information, I guess I should say. Just wanting the board to know we're going to send out letters letting parents know that if they do provide fraudulent information, that we're going to be filing charges on them. I didn't want that to come as a surprise and you all get an email saying what's going on. So I wanted to publicly say that as well. And that's all I have.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
What can we do to better staff that department and to really ramrod this residency deal and put people where they belong? I think that we need to, in my opinion, maybe update the board policy so that it reads that grandparents clause ends at 7th grade. I think the state of Texas says at the age of 12 years old that you no longer have to have a guardian that is there. I know that we have some students that, we get beat up because they're hanging out on the porch for a long time till 6:15, 6:30. I mean, those are some of the students that I'd immediately be looking at to see where do you live at, because if you live in Red Oak, Texas, and you're a grandparent clause, or and most of these grandparents are home already, because they're Donna's age. Sorry. But well, y'all are the same, but they're not letting their grandkids hang out. They're not letting their grandkids hang out there. Okay. And I think that you start first with all of these multifamilies, then you start with grandparent clauses, and then every single one of them should have every single one of these residencies in question should be audited. And I think that we should have a specialized team that does that and really goes after these folks. I don't care if it's a 5-star recruit. Get out of here if you don't live here. Period.
Yeah, we have, I know Christy Watts, you may want to speak to this. If not, I'll just take off. And if you want to interject, you're welcome to. We do have some people that are working on it. I'll tell you what the priority normally becomes is those who are reported, because our staff is small there. So would adding staff help? Absolutely, adding staff would help. But the staff is reported, or someone was reported that they don't live there, then that's the ones who normally get the priority. If a student goes to JJAEP or DAEP, or there's some type of issue, then that is also, we immediately look at those to make sure. Sometimes it is those that teachers or staff report that, hey, the student is hanging out. Lots of different things that go into it. We have sent some on their way this year. That has definitely occurred. Are we catching them all? No. I wouldn't sit here and lie to you for any reason to tell you we're catching them all. But we can definitely look and I can talk to Christy and her group to see what we can do to actually to help ramp that up. We did add a parent to the position.
On that staff that all they do is residency and information that comes from our PEMS department?
You have 2 people that work on just strictly the residency questions. You have one who goes out and looks, and then you have one who helps in the office.
Well, I think we need probably 5. Why 5? Because Tony Wallace can't go see all this. If you pulled all of the multi-residency, if you pulled all the grandparents, if you pulled all the idiosyncrasies that those things fall into,
Right.
one man individually
there's no way
cannot
possible.
go do that and conduct the proper investigations that should be being conducted on every single student that says that I have a grandparents, I have a multi-residency, this, that, and the other. I have a lease that I signed in August that I broke in September, and I'm here for the remainder of the year, and I'm getting carted back and forth from as far west as Mansfield, as far as north as Keith's Boulevard, as far south as Waxahachie, and this, that, and the other. If they don't live here, I don't want them here. And there's some good kids that I love, but I don't want you here.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. We can look at that. We'll look at staffing. I'll look with HR, and we can look at staffing as well.
Thank you.
You're certainly welcome.
Okay, anything else? It's simple. Anybody? Son? Next, we'll move into our action items. You have the consent agenda in front of you. Is there anything you'd like pulled out for discussion? Hearing none, we have a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Peterson, a second by Ms. Porter. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Passes 6-0. Next, we have consideration and approval of purchase of district vehicles from the 2022-23 budget. Mr. Stanford.
Good evening. Before you, I have a recommendation to purchase 2 Chevy Express cargo vans that are brand new. If you look at the price on them, they're around $31,000, which you can't even hardly find used ones for that much. Several years ago, we started buying new vehicles for probably over 20 years. We would just get vehicles from auctions or used car lots and stuff, and just the repairs and the disarray that they're in, they just don't last very long. And we have guys riding with guys just because we're waiting on parts and getting things done, and it just kind of sometimes affects it. So about 4 or 5 years ago, we decided to start buying new vehicles and turning the fleet over. This is just part of that. We'll be replacing 2 of our older vehicles and getting the vans in. We buy the cargo vans, and then we have our wood shop, and he puts custom cabinets in them so that we can fit them out to to fit whatever that we're doing it for, whether it be HVAC or electricians. They can kind of fit it out to where they can carry all their parts and everything with them, so it's taking less downtime of going to get parts or coming back to the shop.
Do we have any questions?
So that money's already budgeted, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Any other questions? We have a motion?
I move to approve the purchase of the two 2023 Chevrolet Express cargo vans from Gun Chevrolet for a total of $62,692.40.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Peterson, a second by Mr. Sebring. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Passes 6-0. Thanks, sir. Consideration approval of participation in Houston Galveston Area Council Cooperative. Ms. Phillips.
Good evening.
Evening.
I have another interlocal, and this is actually the one where we use for these vans that we're buying. So, it's always better for us to be members of more, so we can use those contracts that are available for the best value of the district. So I am recommending that the board approve joining the Houston Galveston Area Council Cooperative.
God bless
And there is no fee,
There's no what?
no fee.
And there's no issue with getting the whatever goods you're trying to get?
No.
Any other questions? You have a motion?
I make the motion to join Houston Galveston Area Council Cooperative Purchasing Program for Goods and Services through the adoption of the board resolutions authorizing the district to enter into an interlocal agreement.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Knight, a second by Mr. Sebring. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Passes 6-0. Thank you. Next, consideration approval of RFP 2022-11-01, Red Oak ISD Food Catering and Related Services. Ms. Phillips.
In an effort to add some more catering vendors or food type vendors to our RFP, we have opened again our RFP, and we'll keep it open through May. A lot of the vendors that we had awarded from the last time have gone out of business, or, just our list has become short. So in an effort to fulfill the needs of the district, we are trying to get more awarded. And at this time, I'm bringing to you Babe's Chicken Dinner House and Sweet Shack, who have responded to an RFP.
Do we have any questions? You have a motion?
I move to approve Babe's Chicken Dinner House and the Sweet Shack for food catering and related services. Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Peterson, a second by Ms. Porter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Passes 6-0. Consideration and approval of resolution to accept electronic bids and proposals. Ms. Phillips.
In another effort to bring in more vendors, do things a little more efficiently, we are kind of past the time of moving from paper to digital to electronic bidding. And so we would like to move to doing that. It gives us a way to reach out to more. It just takes an email instead of basically, going out, making lots of contacts. It's all done in a much more efficient way, and hopefully we will get much more responses and more competition in our vendor awarding. So I am recommending that we use Ion Wave Technologies as our bidding software and move to electronic bidding for procurement.
And the cost of the software is? Is
The
there,
cost of the software is $3,800 a year.
is there any paper backup on that? Or is it all just straight electronic?
It's,
What's your
Yeah.
question, Jen?
Is there any paper backup on it?
I did not bring the quote. No, I did not. It's a 3-year agreement at $3,800 a year, and it's cheaper by doing a multi-year.
The software that we load, or is this, that we are part of a website?
It links to our website.
Okay. So it just lets us communicate to the district site.
It's
Yes.
active on our server.
So by us taking that on, we also basically get all of the area vendor list to reach out to included with that. So
Any
there's
other questions?
a wider net, basically.
Do you have a motion?
I move to approve the use of an electronic bidding system and the resolution for accepting electronic bids and proposals for procurement.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Peterson, a second by Mr. Sebring. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign.
I vote no.
No?
No.
Motion passes 5-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our action items. You have information items in the back. Time is 8:33. And the board will adjourn into closed session pursuant to multiple Texas government codes as listed on the agenda.